Welcome back to my lovely HP community and the 5D Collective. If you are new, we are a bunch of securely attached individuals, some of us also mystics, and bilateral vertical integration. So, mindfulness, mindset practices, that's what you integrate. And in the meantime, when it comes to intimacy, love, and romance, the 5D Collective, well, there's no drama, no saga, nope, no suffering, no unrequitedness, and you can tune into that episode. We all know that anybody who still has a drama saga story, well, it's gonna get fun here. We have 4D, 3D, they decided, show yourself. Okay, so they're the insecurely attached individual. Pause self, does not want to get good therapy. We will allow ourselves to remember determined, Robert Sapolsky, and then God, who told me, hey Maria, leave the 0-1-year-old alone and none of your business. You keep doing what you're doing with Jesus, Christ consciousness, and the 5D Collective. In the meantime, the ones in cloaks who don't welcome us, the Akashic Record readers, Reiki masters, we know it's okay. Science and spirituality come together for the brains that are integrated and the bodies that are restorative. And that's because you have the capacity, since it's your birthright as a human being. And I'm here as a person who has already my infinite higher human conscious potential completely online. It's amazing. So I'm integrating it all. And FYI, you don't have to believe in mystics, but I am here with a bunch of different channeled messages for my collective. You're not mine, you know that. I have compersion. I'm solo poly. Relationship anarchy, non-hierarchical. So you're all mine, and then again, you're not, and we're all each other's. And infinity and beyond. So for the fun group of inner children adults, come on over again when nobody sets the ground rules for anything when it comes to our lovely relationship with God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit, as well as Claire's. So spiritual egos, they can go and hang out together and do spiritual bypassers. Science's egos, they do the same thing, and we in the meantime come all together knowing that we have a person here who is a content creator and a mentor for the purposes of helping those who want to be helped to be their self, flawed and imperfect as you can be. And right now I'm just sharing stories. And I get data from other people. So I won't always remember to quote everybody, but you can ask me about my sources. Luckily for me, I work with smart human beings who care about people. So they're always going to be benevolent because they're the ones that I learn from the most, because they want the information that they're sharing to be distributed to the best of the best of the best. No, to all. To all. Because again, Robert Sapolsky says we have no free will. God says, leave alone the 0-1-year-old Maria and suffering. And I say, okay, got it. But in the meantime, we can come together for the ones of us who are with the intention of, where are you? I have some notes. 1 second. Right here. To be healthy adults in healthy adult relationships with new stories that heal trauma for those who want it. So not everybody wants to get out of 3D, 4D. They can stay in there. They have plenty of people that they can follow. In the meantime, for us, I'll read just a little bit about the 5D. That way you can not have to tune in there. So the 5D Collective, we tap into the infinite consciousness of our own bilaterally and vertically integrated brain. We have an emotional depth of relationship with ourselves, and a mentally depth relationship with ourselves, and a physically depth. I'm using that on purpose. Okay, so we live and love mindfully, spiritually, from the mind, divine masculine, heart, divine feminine, and body. And then I call the left mode the masculine, that's the left, the ego, the talking one. The right is what all emotions come up. You don't do anything with your right as long as you don't own your 0, 1, 2, 3, and your all 8 years of your first life, so your subconscious, unconscious. Once you own that, you get out of the 16-year-old and you stop saying, excuse me, you're confusing science and spirituality. You're doing this wrong. You stop doing that and get out of black and white thinking and negative positive, all that, and you start allowing tick-tock, tick-tock. No, you let them work together, because you say, oh, she's talking, I'm not. And you mindfully are aware, and your ego's not sensitive like a teenager, because even a teenager can tell you all about how when someone said, it's not personal, I was like, wait a minute, you're right. If I keep it open, it's not. So you process, and that's because emotions, oh, sadness, it's about connection. Oh, anger, it's about correction, but I don't need to correct anything because you didn't do anything wrong, because that's it, you're speaking. and feeling. That's it. If you physically know I'm going to run away, I do fear for that one. Anybody who wants to correct by stopping, you don't want to use it, you want to protect. So non-reactive is the restorative embodiment and the 5D way, because that's what mastery is. We don't do control, we do self-mastery. And we love self-mastery. Oh, it's amazing when you're here, because your emotions, they're all on. There's no fear of any of them. There's more like, okay, so what was that now that you said about what don't you want me to do? This is what love and romance are all about. Oh, you can't get a Neapolitan. I'm American Italian. Italian from the Neapolitans. You should just see us. Yeah, they can't be with no depth of this. They have to have this on, and then they have to be able to shout, but not shout in a way of being anywhere near those who have jealousy or spite or envy. No insecure human being. That's a whole different crew. In fact, I had to tell one of them, look, you and I, this won't work because I know you. I said, I know you, and I do know them. And in fact, to this day, they're not a sharer. And I am not a person who is going to be in that type of relationship. So it's not going to work out. And in fact, they didn't accept the solo poly thing, and they didn't accept what I said. But eventually I said, look, you're continuing to do this, and I told you already, this is not compatible. It's not because my feelings for you have changed. No, I love you just like the day I've loved you before. It's not compatible because of you thinking that you own me, and you can't, and you really don't. So I am using half stories, half not. The point is, though, that the consistent repetition with respect was what led to a completely mutual understanding on the different page. So a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group doesn't have any kind of let me cut people out of my oversoul. This is a very special human being, by the way. And I've told this story before, but they're 3D. And yes, then there's also 4D. And as for 4D, well, there's a bunch of those. So, we leave it alone. Again, meaning that they have a good time. We have a good time. Nobody knows anything because they definitely don't know two sides of their brain. I do, though. And there's that. Ego will always know ego. But ego and self, So again, it's fun. It's fun to be an empowered person. You have a restorative embodiment, and therefore you have the unconditional love with that inner growth mindset and the mindfulness daily practices, mindset skills in everyday life relationships, and as the world changes. So we stay within our social engagement system because we know self-regulation. Like for me, as I am interacting with any person, while when I tell you the story, I can break it down and give you, here's the adaptive child, 3D, 4D, and you can hear all my parent while I'm interacting. They're going to see a non-reactive human being interacting with them, which is why from the outside it looks like I don't give a shit, which actively I don't. But not because I don't give a shit. I just don't have a threat response because you don't represent a physical threat. Also, if you ever did, I would be running the fuck away from you. That's as sure as can be, not doing anger. I don't need anger. I don't need to correct the past. It already happened, you see? So my angry circuit, I don't have a problem with it also because it never got repressed. I don't have a problem with fear or sadness. So when you have the mindfully living life and spiritually, you have a good relationship. You also don't do envy, jealousy, spite because God taught you. So did Jesus. Yeah, I meet women, men, and days who they like to say, I forgave. You know how I forgave? And I'm like, yeah, that's not how Jesus meant it. You're not doing it right. Your emotions are still full of you wanting to see them get their karma and payback and all that. And I know what it means to be sad and upset and wanting to have a hug. Not payback in the way that it sounds. You really don't know how to allow yourself to forgive a person who doesn't know that their biological rudeness is their unresolved trauma. So when you meet 3D, 4D, you're always going to notice it because there's a squirrel and a Cusco. And unfortunately, these are distorted feminines and masculines who do not take ownership at all for any of their nothing, like my facade friend. So you might as well just allow yourself to keep that in mind. So we, again, come together with those who, like us, know intimacy, love, and romance, and that they are with emotionally mature and available masculines and feminines. The ones who are securely attached internally, or they're getting it and therefore will know how to have our lovely conversations. We know how to be life partners and true lovers because we know how to talk face to face, heart to heart, with vulnerability and pure intentions over time. You also will know if you're part of our community because you have no fear of speaking your truth. You love to share your heart and to be your genuine self. This is what makes relationships awesome. So even if you face potential or actual rejection or ridicule, you won't hide who you are. As really, what kind of relationship would it be? So you won't do that. I was a teenager and already having these ways that I talk to you all now. I just know how to explain it with the attachment security stuff too. And here, Robert Sapolsky. So 3D, 4D, they're not going to therapy. They're using their, again, jealousy, envy, these emotions are not bad, but there's a mature way to be a human being grown up. The higher self of you can be here. The people who don't want it, they don't have to want it. Okay, so we don't hide and never will hide our true self. It doesn't matter what words you might use, doesn't matter what tone you might use, doesn't matter how you will address me. In fact, for me, I have a number of times where I've heard a tone and it's not a nice tone, but I ignore it because I'm like, that's they don't even know they're doing it. Because a person lacks self-awareness, accountability, and regulation when they're not learning to regulate into a human being grown up, functional adult. When they don't learn how to use their nervous system like the fancy lady and man in suit. So when you are empowered with healthy self-worth and an inner child, functional adult, you just want to hug whenever you're having any kind of passionate or not like if I have a discussion, I'm just going to look for us to continue conversing until we finalize it with a hug. But I'm a twin, remember? That's why I determined. So for me, no interaction happens where I am going to cancel you. There's only one friend I didn't talk to. You all know this. There's only 2 people I have ever had in my little hate box, which I said it's not hate God. I'm just angry with them. And when people have asked me that they don't want to be friends with me, I'll always respect that. And then I'll say thank you for your time. And that's it. That's how it works when you're empowered. No sensitive ego doesn't mean we don't get sad. It just means we're not sensitive and we don't have this sensitivity because we're not an insecure man, woman, or they from here to here and to being able to be aligned. And again, self-mastery, not self-control. Self-empowerment, not control. You'll notice the difference because you'll spot the ones who control. Yeah, they will have a lot of different ways that they talk about people and life and themselves. So we love to share our hearts and speak vulnerably from and with others. We cultivate authentic relationships and we allow them to unfold as they may. So we're not going to be like, yeah, there's you have to marry me. You have to be my twin flame. That part actually you don't spell out to any of the twin flame people that you have. Well, most only have one, and even that, I'm like, do you really? Then again, who am I? Nobody except for an empowered feminine. So because it became a trending topic, of course, now there's more people that have a twin flame. But when I came across my twin flame, no. And there were, in fact, better people explaining to you what it was than there are today. Now it's something that has taken over as an identity, which is why I leave it alone. But yes, twin flame is a very beautiful relationship, and you will know. So the 5D collective are not afraid to love because we know that love, romance, and intimacy are easy. And you build secure connections over time for number 1. And then with the one who wants the secure attachment figure relationship, you'll know that. If you're polyamory, if you're monoamory and monogamous, then you'll still be able to make that decision. So the secure connection is because you're building authentic relationships. The securely attached, self-empowered, enlightening, mindful, spiritual, mystic, and person. Okay, so that's you embodying the true essence of masculine and feminine of you, which is why you're authentic without fear. And when you spot an imbalance, masculine, feminine, with insecure attachment, you drop the idea of them being a life partner and recalibrate the relationship to secure connection. You then continue along your journey as a true lover and life partner who lives and loves mindfully and spiritually as a whole, securely attached self in the restorative embodiment to walk a walk, talk a talk, love a love, I love to love, and my baby, he loves to dance, and he loves to love and expand and not cast stones. And you're gonna know that there's no drama, no saga, no insecure or immature, emotionally unavailable, behavior or mannerism for the 5D collective of mystics and people that will make us not believe in love. No, we just simply know that we're gonna walk a walk and talk a talk until we find those who are loving unconditionally and have a good time, and they know healthy self-worth, and they know functional inner child adults. So that's the beauty also of the therapists being out there today, is that they can teach all those kids out there that are growing up how to have self-regulation in their aliveness. And so they will know true love, because they will know that it's about secure attachment to their self first, loving yourself, and then saying yes or no, and being able to do it with the ventral vagal state. And again, it's also your birthright to be in this restorative embodiment. So the 5D collective are people who know their birthright intuitively, because every inner child wants to come out and play and not be afraid to love. And that's the self-empowered individual. So you own your sense of self, you get self-empowered, and then we come together and we lift each other up higher. That's what the empowered feminines and masculines do. And we, again, don't do, we don't like the younger generation because they're awful. No, none of that. The 5D collective is here for the present and the future, and we are high on the emotional, mental, and physically intelligent scale, because we have bilateral vertical integration, default mode network down regulated. We're not alone, women or men. No, no. Oh, we have fun with everyone. Just again, 3D, 4D, not life partner material. They're great to have a good time. And then they get to keep doing, Pinocchio's Island. We get to keep doing human being on Earth. And I'm a mystic. I'll be back with some channel guidance in a little bit. So like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and to help the channel grow. Share with those who are part of our 5D collective and are good with having spiritual mystic chit chat besides mindfulness, mindset, and mindset practices and stories with Pacha. And then I get to tell you about Cusco's and Ursula's and Yzma's and you name it. So we'll be back with more.